Welcome to the educational facilities. We are now um, uh, dealing with new devices for space industry that have not been tested yet. They are gravitational possibilities of space, and I'm going to explain a little bit relating to how they should function, really. Um, how they should function. There is a high-speed stream particle ring, and around the high-speed particle ring there is a spiral tube that goes all the way round the actual high-speed particle ring. When it's in operation, it's all coated in a certain type of material. Now we're playing around with the material types to find out whether materials have any effect over the structure of any of it. And these high-speed particles, that there's one group that spins around at great speed in the central core of this device. There are others that spiral round the central core. The idea goes like this: because they're encased in a single device and they are attached to another object, which is basically a spaceship. But you can attach these things to any object. It doesn't really matter the object. And when they're in operation in space, the idea goes like this: they do create gravitational waves, and they create gravitational waves in a structure of a mild rippling. And like we know, relating to gravitational waves, it goes like this. Under velocity, right, when the ship is moving, gravitational waves will make you lighter, right, as a vessel. So it picks the ship up, right, and sticks it onto a rippling of space. So it will lift the craft up a bit, right, and make the craft slightly lighter, right? So the craft is slightly lighter when these things are up and running. Also, the idea is that it will also create a mild form of some gravity, right? Exactly how good they're going to be, no idea, right? But it will create an area of mild gravity. So these things float on rippling space, right? Now, they're really tiny ripples of space, but if you can imagine, it's not the other fellow's stuff, because this is a very big device, right? And just to put the record straight on this one, the process of it, I don't know why, right? I've got no idea why, but in the process of it, there is probably a similarity somewhere. But we find in history that this happens, that there are more than one inventor that will come up with the same thing or a very similar thing. Doesn't matter. What matters is that we get there, right? That's the thing. So rippling waves of two devices that ripple space, right? Gravitational waves. When you're under velocity, right, the rippling of the waves, it behaves a little bit like this under calculation. If you can imagine the old paddle steamers where they had the two paddles on either side of the ship, right? Two paddles either side of a ship. And under its velocity, right, it would help it paddle along, right, through the waters. But of course, you're already in velocity in the spaceship. That's the theory. Now, because this thing, right, is a spaceship and can be angled, let's go back to here, right, can be angled, right, then you are rippling space at an angle, right? Let's say we do a 45-degree angle and we start rippling space at 45 degrees, right? Under velocity, that might have a mild effect of a push. If I go the other way, right, and it's a utter and total this way, and we're rippling space, right? Then this portion of my hand here is the rippled space, and this portion is the ship that's just pointing straight down, right? And then it goes, right? So it's a form, and it ripples it like that, right? When it's like this, it goes, right? Makes it a little lighter. When it's like this, it's a kind of thing, right? Stick that device in an engine somewhere, right, that has a hole through it, and say you try and build up a pressure behind it, right, and you got a hole in the middle of it, pressure, and you stick that in a Bell engine, right, and you get all the compression chamber pressurized up behind it, and then it goes right, and you ripple in space, and you go right, and then get vacuum pressure in there, you go right up. That's the idea of it. Now it works, but actually how good it works, I don't know, right? So it's all tests of testing. Environment in atmosphere, when you ripple the atmosphere, right, and you ripple in the atmospherics, right, under the fact that you're already in gravity already, right, you're going to have to test, right? Test the thing in gravity, right? Is it a resistance to the gravity of the Earth, right? Does it either help or does it not help? Does it create even greater resistance, right? Or does it not create greater resistance, right? You can calculate it, and mathematically, right, it works in both directions. So mathematics are rubbish, right? Calculate it, it would, it does. Calculate that it doesn't, it still does, right? Mathematics is a strange order in creation, and which is the reason why you shouldn't trust mathematics, right? Rely on it because it exists, but you can't calculate the bloody stuff in physical reality, right? What do you think? Resistance, against gravitational field of gravitational pull, or an extra added bonus of being able to lift a heavier weight, right? Ripple in the atmosphere is a different thing to ripple in space. So pressure builds up in the atmosphere, right? And it can either drag you down or it can push you up, and it all depends on how it is, right? So we still don't know yet whether that is actually going to help. But in space, as a rippling device in a Bell engine, right, that goes, I think it's going to have some effect. And exactly how good it is how things eventually are going to be. There are a whole load of more new stuff, right, which I would really love to tell you now. But there's it's early morning, and we're doing a test broadcast, and we've got a brand new laptop. Thank you very much for reuse if you're listening. It was a very good service, and I'm very grateful for it. It's a service in the United Kingdom, if anyone's listening, that if you are a fella in a certain position in life and you need a little bit of help, right, then there are companies up and down the whole of this country called England, right, that offer this service. And I'm extremely grateful for it. It is one hooked up to the governmental structure as well, not to mention that one. Anyway, thank you for being patient, and thank you for being interested. So I'm going to close it there. But we'll be doing some more broadcasts later on. Now we've got all this, and it's going to be a massive benefit. But thank you, fellas. Thumbs up.